Hello, this is Two Ladies Midwest Adventures. I'm Julietta, and I'm reading chapter 4 of Heaven is for Real by Todd Burpo. Smoke signals. Later that evening, with a swim under their belts, Cassie and Colton sat in a big round booth at the Old Chicago restaurant in Greeley, Colorado, coloring happily while Sonia and I chatted with Pastor Steve Wilson and his wife Rebecca. We had already chowed down on some terrific Italian food, including the usual kid favorites: pizza, spaghetti, and garlic bread. Steve was a senior pastor of a church between 1,500 and 2,000 people, nearly as many people as lived in our hometown of Imperial. Do not pester me, Jenny.
I'm not.
Thank you. It was a chance for Sonia and me to know another pastor in our district and to get some ideas on how other pastors do ministry. We planned to visit Steve's church, Greeley, Wesleyan, the next day. Sonia expectedly wanted to look at how the church's Sunday morning children's program worked. Rebecca divided her time between the grown-up conversation and coloring with kids. Picture almost looks like convention. Wow, Colton, you're really doing a good job coloring that pizza, she said. Colton offered a thin, polite smile, but had fallen unusually quiet. Then a few minutes later, he said, "Mommy, my tummy hurts." Sonia and I exchanged a glance. Was it the stomach flu coming back? Sonia laid the back of her hand against Colton's cheek and shook her head. "You don't feel hot, hon." "I think I'm going to throw up," Colton said. "I don't feel so good either, Mommy." "Oh, no." I think I remember that clip from the movie. One kid got sick and then caused the other kid to get sick. It actually happened between me and my friend. My friend actually wasn't feeling that great. She got sick in the sink, and because I saw her get sick, I got sick too. It was funny. Yeah, chain reaction. Domino effect. We figured it was something they ate. With both kids feeling under the weather, we ended our dinner early. Said goodbye to the Wilsons and headed back to the hotel, which was just across the parking lot from the restaurant. As soon as we got the door to our room open, Colton's prediction came true. He upchucked, beginning on the carpet and ending as Sonia whisked him to the tiny bathroom in the toilet. Reminds me when I projectile vomited across our entire house, too. I had a stomach bug. And it was crazy, too. Just imagine sitting in the living room. You have a kid go like 12, maybe more feet across the house, just throwing up the whole way. And just being done when he reached the bathroom. Oh, I just wanted to eat that sandwich. I was hungry. Okay. Standing in the bathroom doorway, I watched Colton's small form bend over and convulsing. This didn't seem like any kind of food poisoning. Undoubtedly. I ate some moldy cheese one time. That was food poisoning. I only found out later.
Don't forget about me.
You didn't get sick like I did.
Yeah. That's the only difference.
Yeah, that was the quesadilla. It was the shredded cheese in that.
I was like, this tastes weird.
Yeah, you said it tasted weird. I'm like, it does taste weird, but food is food, so...
Yeah.
I ate more than you did. That's why it affected me, really.
Yeah. I'm glad I ate very little.
Yeah, and then my dad opens a cheese package. He's like, "Ooh, this smells." And I'm like, "It does?" It's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, it's moldy." And I'm like, "How can you tell?" And he's like, "It's really powdery." I thought that was normal. Because sometimes it does have almost a soft, powdery kind of feeling to it.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off. I thought the cheese was just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was white cheese too, so we couldn't tell.
No, it wasn't
right?
white cheese. It was the regular sharp cheddar.
Well, I guess I don't remember.
It was
the
just
color.
a kind of soft, powdery, I think. That's what fooled me.
Yeah.
It got me that time. Let's see. Gotta be that stomach flu, I thought. Great. That was how the evening began. It continued with Colton throwing up every 30 minutes. I remember one time when Mom made us one time cross a river and that. Don't drink river water. That's how I learned the hard way. I was really short, so I ended up inhaling some of it. That wasn't fun. Tasted nasty, first off.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting thrown up for weeks for that.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a lot. That was just a tiny bit.
Yeah, that's
Although
sad.
we did catch a fish that day. That was fun. With our bare hands.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That was
Between
amazing.
time Sonia sat in an upholstered side chair with Colton on her lap, keeping the room ice bucket within reach in case she couldn't make it to the bathroom. About 2 hours into this cycle, another kid joined the party. As Colton was in the bathroom, heaving into the toilet with Sonia kneeling beside him, a steady hand on his back. Cassie ran in and threw up in the tub. Sonia called, I need a little help in here. Oops. I turned like 5 chapters of it. Great, I thought, now they both have it. Or did they? After we were able to move both kids back into the bedroom, Sonia and I put our heads together. Colton had seemed to kick that stomach flu the day before and all along the day at the Butterfly Pavilion. He was his normal self, completely happy except for the strain holding Rosie to get that sticker. Cassie had held Rosie too. Could Goliath tarantulas trigger a case of double upchuck? No, dummy, I told myself. He pushed the thought aside. Did the kids eat the same thing at the restaurant? I asked Sonia, who by then was lying on one of the double beds with one arm around each of our 2 green at the gills kids. She looking at the ceiling and thought for a moment, I think they both had some pizza. But we all had pizza. I think it's that flu. Colin probably wasn't quite over it quite yet. And then he passed it along to Cass before we got here. Doctor said it was pretty contagious. No matter what it looked like, our relaxing post-traumatal celebration trip was abruptly coming to an end. And a few minutes later, I heard the magic words that seemed to confirm my thoughts. Mommy, I feel like I'm going to throw up again. Sonia snatched up Colton and hustled him to the toilet again, just in the nick of time. When the pink light of dawn began peeking through the curtains the next morning, Sonia was still awake. We had agreed that at least one of us should still go visit Greeley Leasing and get some large church ministry knowledge we could export to the Imperial. So I tried to get at least a little sleep. That left Sonia with nursing duties, which included an almost hourly trek back and forth to the bathroom with Colton. Cassie had gotten sick only one other time during the night. Whatever this bug was, it seemed to have latched onto our little boy's innards and dug in deep. Stomach bugs aren't fun, I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
I got so many stories about getting sick.
Yeah.
We checked out of the hotel early and drove over to the Greeley home and Phil, Betty, Lou Harris. Our close friends and also superintendents for the Western Church District. That includes all of Colorado and Nebraska. The original plan that had been that our... Oops.
Are you kidding me?
No. That our 2 families would attend the Wesleyan church together that morning. I'm sorry. Don't disrupt my book.
Get your foot off the chair.
He just said please. Thank you. You trying to get in camera? What did we talk about? The child abuse.
I'm patting the head very
Not the
gently.
face. Not the face.
I'm patting your hat.
Stay away from my face.
Okay.
Ay, ay.
I said I'll stay away from your face. Not
No.
the back of your head.
Want me to tell you in another language? No. Ah!
Okay.
Hey,
You deserve the
don't-
tickles.
Don't knock over my teeth.
You deserve the
Let me
tickles.
read.
You deserve the tickles.
We checked out the hotel early and drove over. Okay, hold on. The original plan that had been that our two families would attend the Weasleys church together that morning. Now, though, with a pair of sick kids, we decided that Sonia would stay at the Harris's home. Betty Lou, sweet lady that she is, volunteered to stay home and assist. It's 10 minutes. Okay. Let's see. When I got back from church, just after lunch, Sonia gave me the status report. Cassie was feeling a lot better. She had even been able to eat a little something and keep it down. But Colton continued to vomit on a clockwork basis and had been unable to hold anything down. Colton was in the Harris living room, huddled in the corner of the huge couch on top of a blanket drop cloth with a blanket standing nearby just in case. I walked over and sat down beside him. Hey, buddy. Not doing so great, huh? Colton slowly shook his head, and tears welled up in his blue eyes. I might have been in my 30s, but over the last few months, I learned only too well that what it was like to feel sick and miserable, that you just wanted to cry. My heart hurt for my son. Come here, I said. I pulled him into my lap and looked to his little round face. His eyes, unusually sparkling and playful, looked flat and weak. Phil walked over and sat down beside me and reviewed the symptoms: abdominal pain, profuse vomiting, and fever that had come and gone. Could it be appendicitis? I thought for a moment. There was certainly a family history. My uncle's appendix had burst, and I had a wicked case of appendicitis in college during the time Sonia and I were dating. Also, Sonia had her appendix when she was in the 2nd grade, but the circumstances here didn't seem to fit the bill. The doctor in Imperial had diagnosed him with the stomach flu. If it was appendicitis, there would be no reason Cassie would be sick too. We spent Sunday night with the Harris and Greeley. By morning, Cassie had completely recovered, but Colton had spent a second night throwing up. As we packed our duffel bags, we headed outside to load up the expedition. Phil gazed at Colton, cradled in Sonia's arm. He looks pretty sick to me. Todd, maybe you should take him to the hospital here. Sonia and I had discussed the option. We had sat in the emergency room waiting areas with a sick kid before, and our experience was that we could probably make a 3-hour drive back to Imperial before we had seen the emergency room to a Metro Denver hospital. So instead, we called ahead to the Imperial and made an appointment with our regular family doctor, one Colton had seen the previous Friday. What are you doing, Jen? What are you doing?
Waiting.
Okay. I explained our reason to Phil. He said that he understood, but I could tell he was worried, and by the time we had been on the road for an hour or so, I began to think maybe he was right. For Sonia, the first red flag waved when we stopped at a Safeway just outside Greeley to buy pull-ups. Colton, who had been potty trained for more than 2 years, had tinkled in his underwear. I was worried Sonia that he didn't even protest when she had laid him down in the back seat of the expedition and helped him into a pair of pull-ups. Under normal circumstances, he would have been indignant. I'm not a baby. Now, though, he didn't utter a peep. Okay. Instead, once strapped into the back of the car seat, he only clutched his belly and moaned. 2 hours into the drive, he was crying constantly, stopping about every 30 minutes to throw up again. In the rearview mirror, I could see the heartbreak and helplessness on Sonia's face. Meanwhile, I tried to focus on the goal. Get him to Imperial and get some IVs in him. Stop the dehydration that surely must be setting in it as this flu ran its course. Dehydration will do that. We reached Imperial just under 3 hours. But at the hospital, a nurse took us back into an examination room pretty quickly. And Sonia carrying Colton, cradling his head against her shoulder, the way she had when he was an infant. Then a few minutes, the doctor who had seen Colton on Friday joined us. We brought him up to date on the situation after a brief exam. He ordered blood tests and an x-ray. And I think I took a breath for the first time since we rolled out of Greeley. This was progress. We were doing something in a short while. We'd have a diagnosis, probably a prescription or two, and Colton would be on the way to recovery. We took Colton to the lab, where he screamed as a tech tried her best to find a vein. That was followed by x-rays that were better only because we convinced that there were no needles involved. Within an hour, we were back in the exam room with the doctor. Could it be appendicitis? Sonia asked the doctor. He shook his head. No, Colton's white blood cell count is consistent with appendicitis. We are concerned, though, about his x-rays. I looked at Sonia. It was the moment we realized we had been banking on a really nasty virus. We were completely unprepared for something more serious. The doctor had led us into the hallway, where there was already an x-ray clipped to an illuminator. Saw the picture, my heart dropped to my stomach. The x-rays of our son's tiny little torso showed 3 dark masses. It looked for all the world as if his insides had exploded. Sonia had been shaking her head and in tears, which had hovered just beneath the surface, spilling onto her cheeks. Are you sure it's not appendicitis? I asked the doctor. There's a family history. Again, he said no. That's not what the blood tests show. Then what is it? I'm not sure, he said. That's the end of chapter 4. Jenny, help me.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. I don't know the rest of this, girl.
1,000 subscribers.
What about the 1,000?
These afterwards.
So like and subscribe so we can get 1,000.
Like and subscribe so we can get to 1,000 subscribers so we can start beekeeping.
Thank you.